I chose to write my critical review over The Fellowship of the Rings, which is the first Lord of the Rings movie. And as I stated in the paper, the reason that I chose that film is because when I was younger, my mom was very strict when it came to films. And that was the first film that I was allowed to watch that wasn't essentially G rated. And it really helped me understand that films can be genuine masterpieces. And it blew me away when I first saw it. And I truly understand why it was a catalyst for movies to come that were innovative and just genuinely amazing. Um, so one of the first things that I talked about in the critical review is that the location really blew me away. It's the home of Peter Jackson, the director, in New Zealand, and the fact that they chose to film outdoors and deal with all the challenges that come with that instead of just making their own sets. Um, I really appreciated that because it showed how dedicated they were to making their film reach the next level. Um, Not only is it just beautiful, the scenery that they chose, it just seems almost magical because it makes you feel as though you are in Middle Earth, as though you were there. It's such a beautiful location, such beautiful scenery. It makes it hard to believe that that is a place on Earth, and I genuinely believed that that was Middle Earth, and that I was there when I was watching the film. I really appreciated the locations that they chose just because they were so beautiful and just added another level of um, amazingness to the film. Another thing is hobbits. So they're somewhat controversial when it comes to the film, just because this film is based on a book, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and a lot of the people that read the book before they watched the movie have their own personal interpretations on what the hobbits are supposed to look like or be like based on what they read and how they pictured them in their mind. And a lot of people pictured the hobbits differently than they were shown in the film. And that caused them to be upset or just confused that the hobbits weren't the way that they had um, made them to be in their mind. Personally, I thought that they fit the description very well. I thought they were realistic to what I was imagining in my mind when I read the book. And so I really enjoyed the way that they portrayed the hobbits. And another thing is the fact that they managed to shrink them well. I was probably 11 or 12 when I watched the film. Um, and so I was still kind of naive. And I genuinely believed that Elijah Wood and Sean Astin and all the other hobbits were actually that short in real life. The actors portraying them were actually just 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Um, and when I found out later, when I was older, that they were not, I was very taken aback. I felt betrayed because I thought it was very realistic the way that they showed the hobbits being smaller than the rest of the other characters that were average sized, human size, I suppose. And so I really appreciated the way that they did that and the way that they kept the size consistent throughout the film. So it didn't confuse you if they were like up to the hips of Aragorn in one scene and then they were like halfway up the waist in the other. Um, I thought that it just worked really well the way that they did that. Another thing is the casting. I thought the actors were amazing. And I felt that each actor that was chosen for each specific character fit it perfectly. I was very impressed by the casting people and the way that they managed to choose someone who just perfectly fit the description of that character. And not only that, the actors obviously put in a lot of effort to creating the character, to understanding their backstory and their personality, their motives, their emotions, and just making sure that they were doing a realistic interpretation of a character and that they felt well rounded and relatable. I thought they did a very good job of that. And then finally, the biggest theme that I noticed throughout the film, and honestly throughout the trilogy, is brotherhood. is this sense of camaraderie or friendship, whatever it is that you want to call it. Um, and there were several different pairs or like groups of characters in the film that displayed this, but my favorite, the main characters, Frodo and Sam. Um, they at the very beginning of the film, they're obviously good friends. You can see at Bilbo's birthday party, they're hanging out, drinking together, messing around and stuff. So they're obviously good friends. But I feel like by the end of the film, they have this level of trust in each other that wasn't there before, and that developed because of the experiences that they went through together and how they were able to depend on each other um, throughout those difficult times to make sure that they survived. They made it through whatever they were having to deal with. Um, and this is seen not only with Frodo and Sam, but you can also see it with Legolas and Gimli, how they hate each other at the beginning, and by the end of the film, they're working together to fight the orcs. And you can see it in Merry and Pippin, in Boromir and Aragorn. Just there's a bunch of different pairs that you can see them forming really deep bonds throughout the film, and I genuinely appreciated how the film chose to focus on that throughout the film and throughout the trilogy. Because I feel like that's a very relatable thing, something that a lot of people are either looking for or they understand because they've had it. And so it helps maintain the attention from the audience. So yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I love watching it every single time that I do watch it. I've seen it way more times than I could possibly count. Um, and I still believe that it is a groundbreaking masterpiece. Um, I think that they were doing incredible things for their time when the movie was released. It was just very innovative and creative, and just each component of the film fit together. They did their own job perfectly, and they fit together so well to make this film truly, truly incredible and just reach the next level of film. And I truly believe this film is a masterpiece.